Hello, YouTube. Good morning. Good morning. I'm so glad to have you on Cavassier and all of you on Periscope. Thank you for being with me. I'm here to ask a question, a very imperative question that many of you are inquiring about because you're writing me, you're calling, you're saying that I'm going through some things and it's crazy emotionally and I don't understand this. Believer and unbeliever alike, Felicia 7373. And what qualifies me to answer these questions is I have dealt with hundreds of cases. Over the years, I've dealt with some cases that were long term, up to 40, 45 years, some cases that was severe that end up with tremendous sadness, and some that end up in tremendous victory. And the outcome is based on your response and your action to the relationship you are in. Narcissism, uh, which is a narcissism personality disorder, and they call it NPD, professionally has been diagnosed as a personality disorder with the inability of change. Then what you see is what you get. And there are at least three types of narcissists that we have. We have the semantic, the cerebral, and the malignant. There are others, and they all seem to have their own, and some of them cross over each other. Some of them you can get them, and they have all three, and some of them bear the character traits of one more than the other. However, these narcissists are very addictive in relationship. You will find yourself that once you join with them, they're very difficult to leave. Pastor Homer, God bless you. Prophetess Cynthia, thank you for being with me. And some of you are in urgent care. You're in urgent care because you're hurting. Some of you are in a discard state. You say he discarded me. I don't know why. I don't know what I've done, but he just stopped talking or she just disappeared. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to do anything wrong, say anything. That's part of the relationship, to discard you, to devalue you, to gaslight you, to leave you wanting more, craving them. We call this trauma bonding. And Stockholm is when you find the need to protect your predator. And so many of you are writing saying, I'm finding it almost insane to leave. And yet I'm in a state of unrest staying, that when I stay here, I feel like I'm losing my mind. And when I want to leave him, I feel like I'm losing my mind. How do I handle her? Because I know that they are malignant. They are constantly thinking of ways to keep me there. And when I leave, they hoover me back in. And I went to a no contact zone and I broke the contact because I couldn't do without them. Do you know there is an addiction? These narcissists bring you into the web. They weave you emotionally. They're banking on your emotion. This is a soulish relationship that end up taking over the total you if you do not get out of it. The longer you stay in, the more you have to give to this relationship, and the more this relationship will require. You think you would change the narcissist. You believe if I just stay there, they will love me. She will love me. If she see how I want to protect her and take care of her, she gotta love me. He will see that I'm willing to do anything for him, and he will stay. No, he will not. He will be faithful. No, he will not. He will love me. No, he never did. What you are banking on is if you had a relationship. You got to realize with the narcissist, you never had a relationship. She said, why I won't entertain my landlord. Absolutely, absolutely. You're one of many because Prophetess Cynthia, how are you? I got two Cynthias on Facebook, and I'm glad to have both of you on board. And see, what happens is when you attach relationship in business, you notice that when you work with a narcissist in business, it's always controversial, it's always competitive. You never can do anything right. And if they are not the boss and you're working with them, it's a competitive zone, a highly competitive zone. And narcissists love grandiosity, so they think that they're better anyway than you. But there's this empty space inside of them that they contend with every single day, and they don't live by fuel. As a matter of fact, they drain you of your emotions because they don't live by it. They don't feel, they're not empathetic, they're not sympathetic. Narcissists live by fuels, and you live by emotions and love and commitment and a value system. And when we're together, the longer we're together, the more we commit to one another, because we want this relationship to end up in covenant. They will marry you, but you will never have a covenant, and they will never be committed. They go on what they need and not what is right. They don't do right because fuel may not allow them to do right. They're going to get that fuel at any cost, even at the cost of who you are. And this is why when you have this addiction and oxytocin and the adrenaline, and you're going through all of the serotonin and the different hormones that run through the body, that run through your bloodstream, because hormones travel through the bloodstream. And many of you are affected by this. You're affected naturally, you're affected mentally, you're affected physiologically. You say it even affected my spiritual life, because many of you have compromised your relationship with God. Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all of your heart. You never know what all of your heart is. So it's on a continual basis. The narcissists want you to be continuous with them. However, they cannot display the same emotion. And this is why you get ghostling. This is why you get discarded and gaslighting. And when they discard you, usually, not always, there is a triangling. They are triangling someone else. They're bringing in a new supply, because narcissists need fresh supply. It's like having chocolate ice cream every day, every day, every day. After a while, even though you love chocolate ice cream, you soon become bored of the chocolate ice cream and you want vanilla. Well, when you do that with human specimens, you are doing it with different specimens, because one specimen may be vanilla and one specimen may be chocolate. They will go cross cultural, they will go cross language, they will go cross ethnicity, and they will go educationally, financially, whatever that narcissist need for supply. And they will take something that they wouldn't normally take until they get what they desire in place. And when the narcissists get you in place, and based on the supply you give them, they determine whether you're secondary, third supply, or whether you are a primary source. Not all supply is sexual, and sometimes they need business supply, none just friendship supply. And so when they get into the sexual supply, the intimate supply is taking it to a different level. And many of you have been intimately involved with your narcissist. Now, I am a believer, so I take it from that aspect, and many of you are not believers. So let's see if we can take it. And when I go to a neutral basis, that doesn't eliminate us as Christians, because we supposed to have a standard. And even though we have the ability to compromise our standards, we can get that standard back restored through the state of forgiveness, asking Jesus Christ to forgive us and to cleanse us from all unrighteousness. Now, those of you who are not born again that comes on my site, you then will find peace and solace in whatever you count as credible. However, However, our credibility goes to Jesus Christ. And if you don't serve our Lord Jesus Christ, I won't compromise my Christian standard because you don't serve him. It's just that you will have another source that you go to. But Christians, we rely on Jesus as the ultimate source and the word of God as our empowerment. And so when you get with the narcissist, good morning, Prophetess Monique, how are you? When you get with the narcissist, you got to remember it's like a crack addiction or a cocaine addiction. You are addicted to the narcissist. It's something about them that pulls you in. They have a sixth sense in bringing you into the place of surrender and the place of submission. If you don't get out of it, Lulu B, in the beginning, if you don't get out of it, there was a song a long time ago, if loving you is wrong, I don't want to be right. That is the mindset that you will go into, because the narcissists they will bring you to a point where they will bring you to marriage. If they feel like you will get away, they will marry you. You say, well, they gotta love me because they marry me. No, they don't love you. And those of you who've been involved in a marriage or a relationship with a narcissist, some people have been in there for 25 years, 35 years. They always keep you wondering. They always keep you in doubt. You never know whether you are locked in. You never have any security. You never know where they're faithful. Good morning, Dominion Guardian. How are you? They never bring you to a place of security because they are bouncing emotionally. They're unstable emotionally. They are constantly gaslighting you. One day they love you, the next day they don't. One day you please them, the next day the very thing they said was the ultimate pleasure is now the ultimate dissatisfaction. Those dealing in rejection and those that are narcissists are not a good combination. No, as a matter of fact, if you're dealing with rejection and abandonment, they love you, because when you are abandoned, a person who deal with abandonment are always seeking not to be left. And a person who dealing with a rejection is always seeking to be approved. Where initially every narcissist, they honeymoon you and gaslight you and not gaslight, love bomb you. So they bring you into this honeymoon phase. And this is when they seem like the ultimate perfection, the ultimate completion, where you can see yourself with them. But what you don't realize is they take out of your personality and represent that to you. And it's like loving on yourself. And when you love on yourself, how can you not be perfect? How can it not be good? Because even if you feel rejected, they're going to find some good that you want about yourself. And they're going to magnify that. They're going to enhance that. They're going to make that larger than life. And you feel so complete with them until you forget about the rejection stage. It's now where I'm accepted. I finally got someone who understands me, who can communicate cerebrally with me, somebody who can communicate some emotionally with me. It's not about that emotion. It's about living life in the real. The Bible said, and you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. You don't know truth when you're dealing with a narcissistic relationship. So you're never free in the relationship. There's always a source of bondage. There's always a hostage situation. And the ransom to release you is your emotions, not when you want to give it, but when they want to accept it. And they are not always willing to accept it. And if you ever want to know what it is to labor, get gaslighted by a narcissist, or ghost by a narcissist, or discarded by a narcissist, you will find yourself like a hamster running, trying to find out, what did I do wrong? What did I say? Is there something I'm not doing? And they, especially a skilled narcissist who is very qualified in experience of handling these emotions over and over and over and over and over again. They can be very patient when hooking you, and that's why narcissists, when they're hooking their supply, they are expecting some of them long term, because they will spend months with you, hooking you, and always being there. When you spend 4 to 6 months being hooked by a narcissist, just to be discarded, just to be love bombed, just to be not cared for properly, just to be in doubt always of your relationship, and little enlightenments come up and you soon overthrow them because you think you've touched something, and just when they think you're onto them, the mask go back on, and boom, they start to hoover you back in. And when you get a hoover back in, Corey 136, it gets more and more intense, because they realize that I have to get them into a honeymoon phase greater, because they start notating your ability to becoming unhinged. And so they get you emotionally involved. That's why a lot of narcissists will use sex, the ultimate soul tie, to tie you into their life, to tie you into their heart, to tie you into their ways. Because when they have sex with you, that soul tie, you become one unit, and you start feeling what they're feeling, and you can pick up on them, but they can also pick up on you. And you have to remember that a narcissist have this sixth sense where they can pick up where you're needy, where they can pick up an area that you're not fulfilled in. They get you to tell them what you wanted. You're so excited in communication until you find yourself communicating with this narcissist, saying some things that you may not have, what you should have not said. Because when you have someone that doesn't have your best potential in mind, you need to galore_braze. Watch what you say to them. These are fishers, and these fishers are very experienced. Hello, all the way from Australia. Hello, Australia. Glad to have you on. We are talking about the narcissist. And one of the questions was, why do I feel that when I leave them, I'm losing my mind? But then when I stay with them, I'm always in a state of unrest, because there is no groundedness with them, no foundation with them. This is why my landlord asked, I'm waiting for the rest of the question. What did he ask? So you're not grounded with them. And anytime you give your emotion seek to be grounded, because the first thing you want when you give out your emotion is security. I want to know that I'm stable. I want to know that I'm safe. I want to know that I can give more. I want to give more. Once you give your heart away to someone, your emotions away to someone, you desire to give more, because you want them to explore you, to come into you, to know you. And sometimes you think you have that perfect person. And sometimes you can go to a state of desperation when you have been spun in emotions for so long, and you have not healed, and you keep having all these open wounds, because some of you have had one narcissistic relationship out of a narcissistic relationship into another one, another one, another one, another one. Is that why my Lord asked me personal question? Absolutely, because he wants to know how to gaslight you. He wants to know how to personally attack you. And you got to remember, every gaslighting or every devaluation has been personalized and accustomed to the specimen. And when you accustom that gaslighting to the specimen, because what worked for Sally won't work for Sue, and what worked for Jack won't work for Ray. So you specialize it. And the only way you can specialize it is to ask the right questions to get the right answer. She said, wow. She said, think back how I have met a few. Yeah, you probably met her. And let me tell you why. Because like hurting people hurt, and wounded people wound. With open people who leave narcissists, and the narcissists keep dropping them and never close them, you are open book with the next narcissist. He go into an open door. You never close the door. So it wasn't that he had to knock. It wasn't that he had to use use the key, because the last narcissist opened the door by devaluing you, and then he discarded you and he left you with wonderment, and you filled this hole. So many of you start to prove your value, and you go back into another relationship, and then you try to secretly pay that narcissist back. He don't know it, but you try to pay him back by going into another relationship, and you're saying, see, I'm going to get you back. But what you're doing is the narcissist that has been experienced with your emotions. Good morning, Minister Carol 5345, that's been experienced with your emotions, know through thought fuel. He's not getting your emotional fuel, he's getting thought fuel. Thought fuel is when they drop you and know what you're doing in their mind. So now, Leroy 573, they're getting thought fuel. They're thinking about what you're doing. They're thinking about you spinning your wheel. They're thinking about you being hurt. They're thinking about you being non-functional and disruptive, because they disrupt your whole schedule of life. So they're getting thought fuel, and this thought fuel is it's not as powerful as regular emotional fuel, but it is fuel. They get all kind of fuel, and one of it is thought fuel. And they get thought fuel knowing that you're wounded, knowing that you're hurt, knowing you don't know why they left, knowing that the doors are not closed. And they know that when you don't close doors, because they don't have probably some specimens that almost beg them back. I mean, please talk to me. And they're calling them saying, why did you leave me? Please. And they are crying. Yes, ma'am. They are crying. If you will only come back, I promise whatever I did, I won't do again. Just give me another chance. I was married to my ex who was like this, and that became physical abuse. See, you, that lower mid-grade narcissists. The upper grades can too, but usually upper grades are very cerebral and manipulative. It's the lower grade and the lower grade narcissists are very, very malignant. They're very violent, and they have the propensity not only to hurt and abuse, but they will kill. They are driven to violence. They are driven to rage. It's not just violent. These bad boys, bad girls are enraged. And see, what we don't hear about is the narcissistic female who is violent. I mean, this chick is enraged. And see, when you don't have the Holy Spirit to govern you, you don't have the word to govern you. Your emotions are all over the place. And when you get an emotional person, this is why a lot of times they lose all sense of reality, all sense of sanity, because their emotions are raging. Your emotions was not made to be loose. God made them as part of the soul to experience the true power of his presence and the word of God, but they are under the auspices of the Spirit of God in you. They are not loose. That's why you cannot be led by your emotions, because if you led by your emotions, you can go to ultimate failure. She said, oh yes, he was never violent to me, but those outside. Okay, you got to put that back up. So when anytime you get a question, please cut and paste that, so you can just repaste it again. So I think this is Australia. Australia, if you would just paste that again for me. Yeah, these narcissists, they can be very, very violent or very, very manipulative. They can pick your brain apart, and then they play games with your mind. You got to remember, these bad boys are not grounded. These bad girls are not grounded emotionally. They are all over the place. They're empty. They're void. They keep trying to feel something they did not get in their younger years. Oh, mind games off the charts. Absolutely. They're going to play with your mind. The dangerous is when you play with a specimen and you get them where they're hooked on you. They just as crazy as the narcissist, because many of them will be, they will Stockholm. You are not going to get my narcissist. I'm going to keep my narcissist at all costs. Even if my narcissist discard me, I'm coming after them. Wherever I see you with them or with her, I'm coming. Why? Because I'm addicted, and this addicted, now you need fuel. And the narcissist has become your fuel now, because it's not love. So you are enraged. Love does not behave itself unseemly. See, so yes, he was never violent outside the pets. He was very vital. Oh my God. And see, we're going to deal with that because narcissists, if you knew what your narcissist was doing with your pet, they are very violent. And a lot of times they will take the animal through what they want to take you through. And by the time they kill the animal, the next time they're coming after you. Narcissists are not to be played with. And many of you are playing in the emotions. And these boys are very dangerous. These women are very dangerous. They're very methodical. They are very cerebral. They're thinking. They're thinking. And even when you get the semantic one that is caught up in their looks, they're thinking how to better themselves. They're thinking how to use you as a trophy. That's why they love beauty, not because they're attracted to your beauty, because your beauty is a source of public fuel. And when they go to the public fuel, they're saying, look at my trophy. Look what I've captured. Look what I'm able to apprehend. And look what you will never have. And look what you don't have. And look what I got under my control. Look at my beautiful, wonderful slave that will run at a beckoning call. I speak and they jump. This is what make the narcissist love you. Kim Sell, how are you? But check this out. Even if you did everything they told you to do, they would still be dissatisfied because they're an empty hole. When you put something in an empty hole, it just fall, 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 fall. It never hit the bottom. So you give them love, fall, 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 fall. You give them commitment, fall, 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 fall. You give them attention, fall, 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 fall. They don't care. If you are sick, they need that fuel. If you are tired, they need that fuel. Come on here. The only time they will acknowledge you is when it's helping them. She said, yep, lots of love. I said this yesterday. My old pastor was this way. Oh my God. That is really terrible. You know what I'm saying? When you are under the leadership of a narcissist, they pull life out of you. You will notice illegal pulls, and they're copious pull. They're a lot of volume poured out of your emotion, poured out of your time, poured out of your destiny, poured out of your profession, poured out of you. And no matter how you try to replenish that, they never give you the chance to replenish, because once you replenish, it's going to work them again. They don't want you to replenish. She said, an empty hole. Nothing was even good enough. Nothing will ever be good enough. They're never. A narcissist would have to minimize himself to optimize you. So he's not going to optimize you because you're not going to find a narcissist that's going to minimize themselves. If it do, it's just a ploy. Just watch their next saying. Just watch their next move. She said, Lord, help me. Deliver my mind. That narcissist. And the only way out is to escape. The only way out. Those of you who are married, is a little more difficult because you are there with them and you're there with children. So you have to keep yourself built up until God open the door. My mother also functioned in it. Oh my God. We're going to talk about narcissistic parents. And they grow, and you need to praise God anytime. And I've dealt with so many of my clients or my proteges who have dealt with narcissistic parents, narcissistic relationship. When you come from a narcissistic parent, a lot of times you're going to draw narcissistic relationship because you've been trained with that kind of energy pull, that kind of magnet. Even if you don't want it, 9 times out of 10, you'll be subject to what you're trained to do because it's automatic. It's automatic pilot. And you got to remember, when you've been raised by narcissistic parents, you have this void, this gaping hole that they've refused to fill because they even go through the same kind of systems and cycles and methodology as a regular narcissist. It's just that when they went through it, they went through it as a parent. They went through it as a parent to a child, which is horrible. It's horrific. And it's unfortunate that you went through that as a child. But why do I feel like I'm going to go insane if I leave them? Because you are addicted. And your addiction is what you call love. Your emotion is what you call love. because your love has always been what you felt. The Bible said God is love and God is a spirit. But we don't go by spirit love because spirit love may not have anything to do with feeling. She said, thank you so much for these teaching. Let me so what to look at and to watch out for. Absolutely. Absolutely. So when you have God, you know love. And do you know love has a requirement? Love has a criteria. Love has accountability. And the narcissists don't want to be accountable. They want you to be accountable. You'll be accountable when they tell you they're going to call you at 2 o'clock. You better be there at 2 o'clock. And if not, they get angry. And by the time they finish devaluing you, you will almost lose your job. You will leave out of a church service with God right in the middle of moving just to make sure you answer that call, because the narcissist, you are hooked emotionally. Christians, stop using your Christianity as a point of weakness. And what I mean by that, you keep saying this must be God. You have to know God. Jesus said, take my yoke upon you, learn of me. He said, learn of me. My yoke is easy, my burden is light. God is not going to overload you emotionally. Many of you are overloaded emotionally. She said, yes, I thank God for his love for me. Helps me to overthrow those issues. He gave me the power to overcome. Absolutely. She said, and I pray to find a man, you know, I want you to make sure y'all cut and paste, because a lot of times those questions go so fast it's hard to give them a good evening, a good morning, Jamila. And so many of you saying, I'm fighting within myself. Well, some of you have been discarded. And when you're discarded, you know, living without that narcissist, you almost put you in yourself in the place so he can see you or he can hear you, or you notice you want to email him or you want to Facebook them. If they have not blocked you, you'll do anything to get their attention. You're calling, they used to answer, now they're not answering. They're ignoring your text. They're ignoring your call. They blocked you from Facebook. They blocked you from Instagram and all of the other medias. You drive by the house. You make sure you drive by the job. If they're working there, you're eating there. You're just doing crazy things. Your mind is telling you this is crazy and you still do it. Your mind is telling you not to do it, but your emotion is saying, I got to have my next fix. I got to take a drink of my narcissist fuel. I got to allow him to eat from me, this vampire. I got to make sure I got a vein so he can see my vein. And whatever lifeblood he need out of my life, I got to make sure that vein is public and up so he'll know that it's raised for him. And now draw him like a magnet. That's why you're restless. The Bible said vagabond spirits are restless because they have no place of abode. You have a place of abode. You have a place of where you can rest. You have a place where you can be stable, but you have to make some strong decisions once you are with a narcissist, or you're going to always be in a state of unrest. You are sleeping, wondering who he's talking to when he's texting, wondering is he texting somebody. Yeah, she said, yes, I dealt with control issues because of that. And I used many tricks to get my way before, but God. Yes, ma'am. And she said, Mama's Stephanie. Oh, okay. Wow. What a name you have. But many of you know that what you are feeling, it can't be right. Strong decisions, Lord Jesus, very strong decision. You have, if you're not married to him, in order to get out of that, you have to leave. You have to leave. There's no way. There's no other way. He's like, but there got to be a way. Maybe they'll change. They're not going to change. They haven't changed for you in years. They haven't changed for you in months. As a matter of fact, you're getting the same thing over and over and over again. Even when he said you were sorry, he was sorry. The very next week, you was right where you are. Your heart is constantly breaking until he break you down. And when she break you down or he break you down, you would give them anything they want because you would be like like a rock. You will cease to feel whatever he is. You're on automatic pilot. You just want to make sure he gets what he wants because you feel like if I give him what he wants, if I give her what she wants, they won't go anywhere else. Yes, ma'am, they will go somewhere else with you hanging on their arm. Yes, 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 yes. Yes, sir. They will go with you hanging on their arm. You are not enough to stop when a decision has been made. That decision is in their own mind. She said, yeah, they change a small time, then they're right back. Absolutely. They change a small time, then they're right back. Absolutely. They're right back to where they started from because you got to remember when a snake is a snake, he's not going to pick up on his tail and just start walking. A black mamba can strike you in the face because they can stand up to 5 feet. But do you know that there's still a snake no matter what they do? Catfish have been known to have little feet and walk on land for a minute. They can't stay out of the water long, but they can walk. And what happened is they're still a fish. They still need water. It is their proper environment. You need love, strong love and emotion, real love. And that's why a child that is abused by a parent usually runs after that parent. And those of you who are single parent, and what do the child want? The child is not asking for you. They have you. They're asking for the dad, and sometimes the dad don't even want them. And you are so angry saying he don't want you. I'm here with you. I'm buying you things. I'm loving you. But they got you. You're like food. They're eating you. They're full of you. They're not full of their dad. They're empty of their dad. And what they're empty of is what they crave. And a lot of single parents, this burns them up. It's like my child don't appreciate what they did, what I do for them. They're very appreciative. They're just not hungry for you. They're hungry for the dad. You are not hungry for a person. That's why some of you can't even get a good person after dealing with a narcissist. God send you a person that will love you, a person that will care for you. You will abuse them because the energy level that you are used to operating at, they are not meeting that. The energy drain that you're used to operating, they are not there. You are used to somebody competing with you. You are used to somebody gaslighting you, telling you what you are not. You're used to somebody making you strain to do for them. You are used to the labor without favor. You used to the function without an unction. You're used to it. You are used to the abuse. And you call the abuse love. You call it process. uh, Abuse is not process. It's just what it says. It is abuse, abnormal use. You are being used abnormally. And when you use something abnormally, you will destroy it. My kids love him, and he doesn't even hold them or talk to them. Of course, they still dad. Shauna Mitchell, God bless you. They still dad. At the end of the day, daddy is dad. Daddy is dad. Come on. It's just like you can adopt a child. When that child get of age, what's the first thing they want? They want to know their real parent. They want you to help them find their mom. They want you to help them find their dad. You done fed them all their life. You done put them through the greatest school. You love them as if you birthed them. And then when they get up, they want to know their original source. Where did I come from? Why did they give me away? Wasn't I good enough? And you thinking, wasn't my love good enough? And they love you. They just want to know, why did they abandon me? Am I not good enough? And it's always this little something on the inside. Only God can feel that. We give people what only God can handle. We release that. And when you release that to human, expect abnormal use. We call it abuse. You will be used abnormally. You were not made for it. You were not designed for it. God did not create you for it. And yet you are in it over and over and over again. A narcissist know how to destroy, but a narcissist will get that supply and back off of it because they need to maintain that supply. And when they back off of that supply, so that supply can revive. The Bible said, behold, I'm the God of all flesh. Is there anything too hard for me? So when you are in a narcissistic relationship and you addicted, and that addiction is going emotionally, and you just can't do without him, and you done go into a no contact, you last a whole 30 days, and boom, there you go, call him. Or something remind them of you. And that's why your narcissist, you say your narcissist, he has to love me. She has to love me. Never. Not one time did they love you. They don't know love. Will love treat you like that? Will love leave you like that? Will love drop you like that? Without a reason or real relationship, we just can't make it. I can't do this anymore. Let me close the door. You go your way, I go my way. C'est la vie. Narcissist, out. No explanation. None. And they empower themselves. And if they know you're going to leave them, they will do it first. And when they hoover you and you've left them, you will pay. They're going to get you back in, and then they're going to drop you. And they will teach you, you never leave me. So when insanity is leaving you and unrest is staying with you, what are my choices? My choices is to leave and to take the pressure of the mind. You're not going insane. It's the pressure of your mind to get away from your drug, which is your narcissist. And as your body learn to get rid of that dopamine overloads, get of the serotonin overload, and all of the hormones that run through your body, overloads. They're not even at a regular level. They're overloads. Galore underscore Braves. It's overloads. That's why you feel like you feel. Your mind keep thinking about them, and you think about them all day. You turn them over and over. And when you see a picture of them, their heart hurts. And some of them get pictures of the new supply. Honey, the new supply going to go through what you went through too. They are no different. They do the same thing to everyone. Nobody is going to get their love of your narcissist. Nobody. No matter how beautiful they are, no matter how fine they are, no matter how successful they are, nobody gets it. Will they hoover if they discard you? Of course. Yes, ma'am. A narcissist, but let me tell you something. A narcissist feel like you always belong to them. You have to die out. Unless you have no consequence to them, no value to them. There's been time when they ghost someone, they got out. Because they're not going to let you cause a narcissistic injury. Rather than to injure them, they're going to let you go. Because when you injure them, that's a tremendous wound. But most narcissists, they will hoover you. Just because they discard you, that's not permanent. That's not a permanent discard. They will be back. If something trigger and they think of you, boom, they're going to call. A book, a smell, a song, or somebody look like you, they're going to call. And you are hoovered. And if you've been waiting for it, it's going to be trouble. It's going to be trouble because you are already prone. You are already conditioned. The frequency of their voice, the smell, the way they feel, what they would say, you're already prone. So when you are hoovered, two things can happen. You strengthen yourself emotionally, psychologically. Most women strengthen themselves in their mind. They will do that because they do business, they grow. This is so dangerous. Yes, ma'am. But we don't strengthen ourselves emotionally. She says, "Oh yeah, their voice makes you shrivel now." Yeah, and see, if you strengthen yourself with that narcissist and begin to educate yourself, like all the videos, I have a daughter, and many of you know her, Dr. Carmen Bryant. Dr. Carmen Bryant is my spiritual daughter. Awesome, awesome, awesome woman. And she is a narcissistic specialist. She specializes in it. Her videos are very informative. Her videos are off the chain. She have over 100 videos. So where I am just touching the subject, she has already entered into the subject. 9 times out of 10, she's dealt with the subject matter. So as you listen to me, go to her. If you listen to me, go to YouTube and listen to Dr. Carmen Bryant. Carmen Bryant, CarmenBryant, not prophetess, Carmen Bryant, Dr. Carmen Bryant, and she's dealing with narcissists. Everything that she's teaching is dealing with narcissists. She's very informative. She's very educational. She is a professional therapist. She's a licensed therapist. She's not talking experientially only, but she's talking from a professional basis. And many of you will find relief. Many of you will find healing because that's what you're looking for. When you're looking for love, come on, Willie Nelson, in all the wrong places, you're going to get all the wrong thing. You're going to hook up with all the wrong people, and you're going to be left with all the wrong results. And when you are left with all the wrong results, who has to get the results repaired is you. And you have to go to the same God that you left. You have to come back to the same God that you left because God is a healer. Jehovah Rapha can heal you everywhere you hurt, all in your soul, all in your heart. He will heal you everywhere you hurt. And believe me, if you deal with a narcissist, you're going to hurt. You're going to need some healing. You're going to hurt because relationship was made to be relational. It was made to be functional. It was made to give God glory, to give God praise, and to open up the real you. You are so awesome until it took a God to design you. It took a God to construct you. It took a God to call you. It took a God to raise you. It took a God to establish you. And when God does all of that, do you think God would take this display, this beautiful concourse, and not put it on a hill to be seen? God wants you in public display. When you make the public announcement and you are decreeing and declaring all of the powerful things that you are, this is one way you can start to heal. When the narcissists say that you are no good, when the narcissists say that you are abandoned, when the narcissists say that you are rejected, and because you're rejected, nobody will ever want you. That's why I'm here for you, because I'm the only one in the world who will ever love you like this. You got to know that it's a lie, because if you love me, why won't somebody else love me? And you got to remember, if this is love, then what would my enemies do to me? I'll probably be in better care. If you think about all the things that you've been through, and when you're married to a narcissist, like the young ladies say, he don't even love my kids. He don't hold them, and yet they love him. They love him because that's their dad. He's there with them. Even if he's not there for them, he's there with them. And this maternal instinct that is within them, they love him. They want him. They bonded with him just because of who he is and not because of what he does. What he does give him an extra nit, but who he is always there. That's why an adopted child don't have the love of a parent. They never had the operation of a parent. They never had the presence of a parent, but they will go to the other side of the world to look and find out who birthed them and discarded them, who gave them up for adoption. And there can be good reasons for giving them up for adoption, and yet this child has become a hunter of the paternal. They become a hunt. And that's why the narcissist want to turn you into everything they are, because the narcissist is a hunter. Come on, he's a hunter. He will hunt even the scavengers if that's what he needs. She said, you're in my prayer lane now. Glory to God for confirmation. Negative words have been said about me, because that's discarding you. That's a discard. When you discard a person, and I'm going to tell you something, when the narcissists don't get what they want, they have the lieutenants, they have the flying monkeys that will help them. My 4-year-old daughter loves him, but he mean and and scary, and out of the mouth of babes. Do you know what? Because they can't love, they can't feel. Can you imagine being around somebody who can't feel you? You know how you tell somebody, can you feel me? He can't feel you. He can't feel you. He can experience you. He can have you. He can talk to you. It's like a doll, like a human doll. That doll cannot feel, but he put and portray all of his emotions on that dog. He looks at you like a dog. The dog don't feel. You can stick a pin in it. You can cut it. You can move it. And the dog would never holler. The dog. You are their dog. You are their property. And their property has no voice. It's like slave. In the years of our slavery, we had no voice. And they thought we couldn't feel. So they even our screams didn't mean anything to them. Why? Because you have been analyzed as non-human. And then if I'm non-human, why do I scream like human? Why do I have all the emotions as human? They explain it away. Your narcissists have an answer for every phase of your life. He said to me and his ex that she was dog sitting. Oh my God, that is crazy. That is crazy. That is really crazy. Anytime a narcissist mentions someone, they do it on purpose. Everything they do is methodical. Everything they do is intentional. Because guess what you do? When he discard you, guess what you're going to do? You're going to compete against that person they said. You're going to look up that person which they said. You're going to see what that person is doing. Why? Because you ain't looking for that person. You're looking for your narcissist. You want to look, has he been with her? Do she look like she's happy? Do she look like she has him? Do she have that glow about her? Do she look like the way I look when he love bombed me? And you're looking at this person trying to find your narcissist in the person he mentioned. They mention the people to spawn jealousies once they get what they want. They discard you. Yes, it's hurtful. Of course it hurt, but it works. They know it works. And even if you got a narcissist that don't know what they are, they know when they do certain things and make them feel good. So they keep going by their feelings. And remember, a narcissist, when they feel, they call that fuel because they're not going to feel toward you. They're going to feel it toward themselves. And they call that fuel. It makes me feel good. It makes me complete. It gives me energy, and we call this the narcissistic windmill. When the narcissistic windmill take and spin, and they get the energy from the spin. She said, "I'm men, and you a woman. You listen to man." Okay, so let's get rid of the ignorance. And so what happens is you feel like you're feeling with the initial topic. Why, when I leave them or want to leave them, I feel like I'm losing it. And then when I stay, I feel like I'm in a state of unrest because God is love and God is peace. Jesus is the Prince of Peace. God is peace, Salem of peace, the King of peace. Jesus, the Prince of Peace, give you, he silenced all chaos. He removed all chaos. The crowdedness of your mind, the thoughts that go over and over and over and over in your head. Even when you sleep, the thoughts are going in your head. You dream of him leaving you. You dream of him being with someone else. You dream of you being with him. You dream of marrying him. You're at your desk at work thinking about him. You're driving down the street thinking about him. And if you don't watch it, sometime you will neglect your own children because the narcissist need more attention than the child. So you'll end up giving it, whether it's his child or not. The reason you feel insane, insane is two words. Insane. To be sane is to be lucid, to be in your right mind. And you are insane. That means you're in yourself turned inside out because you're really sane. And to be insane is to have the wrong prognosis, the wrong diagnosis, and the wrong insight of who you are. It means to be so far away from your true self. The Bible says you should know the truth, and the Bible says God's word is truth. The reason you're caught up in narcissism look for weakness of some extent. In some extent, we were weak. In some extent, they found little openings. They found little holes. And they fill those holes with themselves until when you looked at yourself whole, it wasn't you saw, it was them that filled the hole. And you got to now know who you are. And those of you who are single, don't expect for that narcissist to change. It's no change. He's not going to change. She's not going to change. She's not going to change. First of all, in order to change, you got to look within yourself. They are incapable of looking within themselves. They don't want to, because if they look in themselves, it's going to take them back to where the hurt was. And they will have to deal with it and come up to date to healing. They don't want to update to healing. They don't even want to deal with it. They want to deal with the void that caused this person to exist when they close the door to their reality, when they shut the door to love. And that's the person that you are interacting with. Well, I pray that this information help you. And you on my YouTube channel, and those of you who are listening to me, please go to YouTube under Helen Sadler, Destiny Helper, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Push the bell, and every time I come on, you will get an alert. So please, she says here, thank you. You know what? New Beginning 101. Thank you so much for being with me. And I pray, beginning, I follow you good, galore. Thank you so much. New Beginning, please go to my YouTube channel. And those of you on Facebook and Periscope, and subscribe. It is always an honor to address your questions, and I'm looking at them. So tomorrow I'm going to address a few questions. And those of you that are with me, if you would be patient as we talked about narcissism, Tanisha, thank you so much for being with me as we talked about narcissism. And I know that many of you said, I don't want to talk about it. I want to talk about the word, where we're dealing with the word while we're dealing with hurting, bleeding hearts. We're not going to leave them on the road damaged. We are called alongside to help. We are their destiny helper, and we're going to give them the healer, and the healer is there to heal you everywhere you hurt. All right, YouTube, I love you. I'm Helen Sadler, your destiny helper. Remember to subscribe.